Okay.
You need to.
Okay, ready?
Yes. We're good.
You can have outtakes. Okay. Hi, I'm Rebecca McQueen-Ruark, and I'm excited to share with you the lessons that I have learned from the Lord over the last couple of years in my husband and I's adoption process. My husband and I got married in 2019 and started to try to have a family right away, and very quickly learned that we had fertility issues. And thanks to a very kind doctor who felt cruel at the time, he did let us know that we weren't going to be able to have biological children. So at that point, we made the decision that we wanted to pursue adoption in order to complete our family. So in January of 2020, we started the process of adoption, getting all of the paperwork together to be home study approved. January of 2020 was those are in the before times, I like to call it, right before the world stopped with COVID. So it wasn't the best time to start the adoption process, but we were able to get everything finalized and on the home study approved and able to adopt beginning in May 2020. And through that process of waiting and we would put in our profiles for these birth mothers who were looking to place their child for adoption. There was a lot of disappointment that came with that, a lot of rejection, and a lot of opportunities for me to learn about patience. I needed a lot of opportunities to learn about patience. That's never been a virtue that I personally possess. But also a lot, for me, it was the biggest lesson through all of this has been just that God's timing is perfect, and that every time I would try to get ahead of myself and think that I knew how the story was going to end, I was reminded that I'm not the one in control here, and that there was an ultimate plan. And so we actually had been selected by a birth mother for a baby that was going to be born in October of 21, and that actually ended up being what they call an adoption disruption. And so about a month before he was to be born, that birth mother's aunt came into the picture and decided to adopt that baby. And there was some heartache that came with that for us personally, but also some rejoicing for that family that baby was able to stay with their biological family, because we do know that adoption, there's always loss involved with that. But at that time, my husband and I just decided to stop putting our lives on hold. And things that we had been for the last, that had been over a year and a half at that point, things that we had decided not to do, like pursuing buying a new house, and just, going on vacations and things that we had stopped doing, waiting for the adoption, that we were going to just go on with our lives, and it was going to happen when it was supposed to happen. And so we found a house that we wanted, and literally on the day that we were moving into our house, I was Venmoing I can picture the moment right in my head. I was at the bottom of the stairs on Venmo, giving the movers a tip, when my phone lit up with a number from Florida, which is where our adoption consultants were located. And it was a phone call letting us know that a birth mother had finalized it down to us and another couple. And that ended up being the birth mother of our son. And so in that moment, I remember calling my mom, and she said, I'm going to get emotional just talking about it, but you stepped out in faith. You said, we're going to stop with our timing, right? And we're going to put this in God's hands, and we're going to keep moving on with our lives, because when it's supposed to happen, we're going to do that. And she said, you've been rewarded for stepping out in faith. And I hadn't thought about it like that till my mom said it, but man, that was a hard lesson to learn. My son was born in February. We were able to form a really good relationship with his birth mother and birth father between being selected by them in November and then him being born in February. And another lesson in God's timing, he was due March 22nd. All of his siblings had been born on a holiday or the day after a holiday. So I was convinced that he was going to be born on St. Patrick's Day. He was born the day after Valentine's Day, so another lesson in God's timing for me, because he knew exactly what I needed to learn through all of this. Because I had all these plans of what I was going to do to get ready for his birth, and and then that all just went out the window, and my whole priorities and perspective changed, and it was just, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. And every morning, when I get to wake him up and get him ready, I'm reminded constantly of God's goodness, God's faithfulness, and how my plans didn't mean a daggone thing, but that his timing really is perfect, because I think about all the babies that we put in to be considered for, and how many times I convinced myself, well, this is the one, they're going to pick us. And now when I look at Asher's face, and there's just something that tells me he was supposed to be ours. God knew exactly what he was doing and putting him in our family. And daggone it, I just needed to get out of the way of myself and him in order for that to happen. But, the verse that I sort of comes to mind when I think about that is Proverbs 16:9. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. And then Tasha Layton has a song that I remember hearing this song. It's called Thank You for the No. And I can remember playing it, putting it on my phone in the car and playing it and thinking gosh, I cannot wait to listen to this song and to actually mean it when I say it. So I just, those lyrics were, though my lips were saying, God, you are good, my heart was asking, is it really so? You knew what I wanted more than anything, but that's the one thing I felt you withhold. Because you knew I wasn't ready. You knew the time it'd take. Now that I see your wisdom standing in this place, I say thank you for the not yet. Thank you for the not now, for the hold on, for the silence. It took a while to see how you were saving me for something a little further down the road. And now that I'm standing in your better yes, thank you for the no. And I know that my husband and I are standing in the best yes that there could possibly be when we hold our son. And that it will, trusting in God and his timing will never fail you. So I'm Becca McQueen-Ruark, and that's my story in 7.